everybody, welcome to Home Groups, where we apply the message we heard this weekend at Freedom Valley Church. And this weekend we took a deep dive into a story you may have heard before, the woman at the well.
Yeah, this woman who is actually unnamed, we don't even know her name, ended up changing an entire village, telling all of them about Jesus just because of one little interaction at the well.
Yeah, and one of the things that we just were discussing about this story that we didn't actually touch on this weekend is the uncomfortability of this situation. If you think about it, Jesus is walking through a desert and arrives at a well, has no ability to drink. He's uncomfortable. And then this woman comes walking from town alone because it's the middle of the day and there's some uncomfortability there. And then she arrives and it's a man and a woman alone, which in that culture was never okay. It was an uncomfortable situation. And this woman has a history of being mistreated by men. That's uncomfortable. And Jesus uses this uncomfortable situation to reach this woman and thereby reach the entire town.
Put on top of all of that, the religious, cultural weirdness stuff going on too. Like if he even touched her, he was considered unclean.
Yeah.
And the Jews looked down on the Samaritans. They were worthless dogs compared to them. They knew nothing about their religion and they worshipped in the wrong place and all of that. So for him to be in that moment, talking to her as a friend was weird.
Yeah, it was this awkward, painful, clunky moment, but inside that moment, Jesus used it. And that became possible because he was ready in advance to use any opportunity presented to him to help save people.
Right, he actually, before his ministry even started, he spent 40 days fasting alone in the desert. He constantly withdrew himself to pray, to think, just to be alone with the Holy Spirit. And he was ready in that moment when a woman came up to the well where he just happened to be sitting. He ended up being able to change an entire village through that one conversation.
Yeah, he allowed himself to be prepared. He spent the time in advance to be prepared. And I was thinking, how many of us are ready to share the gospel at any moment? If a situation presents itself to you, are you ready to share the message of Jesus, explain how he's changed your life, and explain how he can change the person you're talking to's life?
You can only do that through regular Bible study yourself, through actually having a relationship with Jesus yourself. Just coming to church on Sunday morning isn't enough because by Wednesday, Thursday, you've already forgotten, maybe Monday, you've already forgotten what the sermon is from Sunday. It doesn't burn within you for that long. You're meant to have a daily time with God, a daily time hearing from him, speaking back to him, having this two-way relationship, not just show up to church on Sunday morning.
And on weekends, we talk a lot about invite your friends to church, and that's so important and so key. But there's another step after that. You also need to be able to tell individuals that you just meet about the Jesus who's changed you. And that, like last week we talked about, that's being more than just a fan of Jesus, that's being a friend of him. You know him, so you can talk about him. And going back to our story, Jesus used the uncomfortable situation he was in to share the message of hope and to offer new life, to offer eternity to this woman. Are we using uncomfortable moments to share the gospel? Are we willing to be uncomfortable for the gospel?
The Holy Spirit will more often than not drop an uncomfortable situation into your soul. Like he'll tell you, go tell that person God loves them, or go help that person with their groceries, or something that makes you feel a little awkward. And if you're not willing to get through that awkwardness, you're never going to be able to step into what the Holy Spirit has for you and for that person. Jesus was willing at any moment to get through that awkwardness to get to the person.
So in our lives, are we willing to give up comfortable moments? It's comfortable to sit at home and watch TV. It's uncomfortable to spend a lot of time intentionally studying the Bible. It takes work. It's comfortable to have the same seat every week at church and talk to the same people. It's uncomfortable to stretch ourselves and bring more people in. It can be comfortable to just be a part of a small circle of friends. It can be uncomfortable to stretch that and grow it to a pain point. So are we willing to, one, be ready, and two, use uncomfortable moments to share the most important news of all, that Jesus Christ saved us from eternity?
Yeah, should be a great discussion.
See you guys next week.